On its exterior, El Shaddai, Ascension of the Metatron, looks like a fun, action-packed romp. It has beautiful graphics, a great soundtrack, and an intriguing storyline based in ancient lore. But unfortunately, none of it comes together for the gamer. El Shaddai's graphical and audio flair is about all it has going for it, when you come to realize how nonsensical and incoherent the story is, how muddled and confusing the gameplay is, and how poorly just about everything the game attempts to do mixes together. What you'll immediately notice about El Shaddai is how gorgeous the game is. There's no denying it. While upon closer examination, El Shaddai's graphics look simple and at times a bit dated, the fact remains that the overall style of the game is stellar, and is certainly its strongest point. The soundtrack is extremely strong as well, though the audio aspect of the title is somewhat diminished by subpar voice acting.
You're in for a surprise.
Where El Shaddai's presentation begins to fall apart is in terms of how it attempts to weave its story into the gameplay. El Shaddai's plot is based upon an ancient Jewish script known as the Book of Enoch, but the story told is completely and utterly nonsensical, nebulous, and muddled. And the fact that the characters who tell the story have uninspired and at times laughable designs doesn't help the cause. But even with improved character design, you'd still be left scratching your head in terms of story, which is a big flaw for a plot-centric game like this. Story and aesthetics are all well and good, but gameplay is king, and it's El Shaddai's gameplay that completely destroys the experience. El Shaddai is a third-person action game that takes place on both 2D and 3D planes, meaning that at times it mimics an old-school game like Castlevania, and at other times an action-packed title like Devil May Cry. But this is a major part of the problem. El Shaddai changes constantly, and is incessantly interrupted by cutscenes and strange, brief asides that seem to serve absolutely no purpose. You're never able to develop a cadence or get into a rhythm while playing El Shaddai. The game simply won't let you. It's clear that El Shaddai is ambitious, and I appreciate that. The highly stylized nature of the game begs for a few of the features worked into the experience. Jumping between 2D and 3D planes isn't necessarily a bad idea, but it happens too often, and with little explanation. Combat becomes repetitive and predictable when you're essentially fighting slight variations of enemies using the same 3 weapons over and over again. The game has the gloss of a complex combo-based affair, but it's not. It's essentially a button masher, and a boring one at that. El Shaddai's 11 chapters should take you 10 hours or so to get through, but something tells me most gamers won't get too far into the experience before they're completely put off and head towards greener pastures. El Shaddai is an ambitious game that swings mightily and misses completely, essentially throwing its bat into the stands in the process. I appreciate what El Shaddai was trying to do, but its overly artistic approach, nonsensical story, repetitive and bland gameplay melded into one experience I wouldn't recommend to anyone. And that's too bad, because we need developers that are willing to try new things. But this was a new attempt that falls flat. For more on El Shaddai, check out IGN.com.